everybody, I'm Mr. Terry, and I'm glad you guys are here for another week in our series about choosing wisdom when it comes to your mindset. It's called Your New Playlist, and it's your guide to tapping into the power of a healthy, God-honoring mindset every day. You know, when I was growing up, we had these vinyl records, and so when I wanted to listen to my favorite songs, I just put one of these records on the record player. Now, the only downside to the vinyl records are when you put them on the record player, sometimes they get stuck, especially if there's a scratch on the record. So even the smallest flaw or imperfection on a record means the song won't play the way it's supposed to. It goes from being a smooth, beautiful song to a scratchy, skippy portion of the song that just keeps repeating itself over and over. The same thing can happen with our thoughts, which make up the playlist in our minds. When we're focused on our flaws and imperfections, suddenly it's like the positive playlist in our minds has a scratch on it. It just plays over and over. Those negative thoughts are stuck on repeat, just like a broken record in our minds. And I bet you can relate to that. In fact, I know you can, because part of being human is dealing with difficult stuff. The stuff that makes us feel anxious about who we are, the stuff that makes us feel left out, unnoticed, unimportant, unloved, the stuff that makes us feel like we're just not enough. Maybe that's what that broken record in your mind sounds like. Your playlist is stuck on repeat with a lot of negative, unhelpful thoughts. Maybe you don't feel maybe you don't feel popular enough, or smart enough, or on brand enough. I know we've all been there. See, we all feel like we're not enough in so many areas of our lives. I think every person on the planet has experienced that at least once, one of these thoughts. Honestly, I understand. I really do. If we can just be enough in some ways or another, then surely things in our life would be better, right? If I'm not popular enough, I'll never get left out again. If I'm not smart enough, I'll never feel dumb or stressed about my grades again. If I'm on brand enough, I'll fit in. The problem with all this, there's no such thing as enough. It isn't real. No matter what, we'll never actually be enough. Even when you're popular, there's always someone more popular than you. Even when you're smart, one bad grade can just throw your confidence straight off, right? Even if your shoes are totally on brand, the next best pair is always coming. So you see what I mean? No matter what we do, what we get, or how hard we try to be enough, there will always be something that keeps us from getting there. And when that happens, that broken record playlist just starts playing over and over again. So how do we change this playlist when we feel like we're just not enough? Here's where I want you to start. Think about birds. Kind of weird, right? Yeah, you heard me right. When thoughts of not being enough start running like a broken record in your mind, I want you to think about birds. If that sounds weird, I get it. But trust me, it works. Besides, it wasn't my idea. It was from Jesus himself. When he was alive on earth, Jesus used a lot of examples that his friends and followers and listeners would understand. Back then, birds were noticed more, unlike they are today. So the people that Jesus was talking to would have totally followed him when he started talking about birds. So let's read what he said about it. What's the price of a pet canary? Some loose change, right? And God cares what happens to it even more than you do. He pays even greater attention to you, down to the last detail, even numbering the hairs on your head. So don't be intimidated by all this bully talk. Your worth is more than 1,000,000 canaries. Matthew 10:29-31. I love the point Jesus is making. Back then, a common bird doesn't cost very much at all. It wasn't something most people considered valuable. It certainly was enough to make you feel like, well, that's enough, right? But Jesus was basically saying, you know that little bird that everybody thinks isn't a big deal? Well, God cares about it, and he knows about it, and he thinks about it a lot. And God cares that much about a little bird. How much more do you think God cares about you? In other words, you are enough. When you don't feel like you measure up, when something about yourself makes you feel anxious or self-conscious, when the thoughts of not being enough play like a broken record on repeat, you can remember that God says that you are enough. God knows you, loves you, thinks about you, and cares about you just the way you are. Just like God cares about even the smallest creatures on earth, like that canary. God values you even more. You are perfect in God's eye, and that's enough. Remembering that you can help stop the broken record in your mind. Stop trying to be enough. Stop believing what isn't true about you, because no matter what, you are enough. I know this is a lot easier to talk about than to believe about yourself, right? I know sometimes it's hard. It's great to hear that God says that you are enough, though. But even if we're honest, we probably admit it doesn't always feel that way. That's when we must make the choice to change the thoughts that make our playlist. Here are 2 ways that you can start doing that. Notice when the record is broken. Pay attention to the playlist in your mind. When you find yourself thinking the same negative thoughts on repeat, that's a sign it might be time to change the record. And 2, replace that broken record with a new one. Change the playlist telling you that you aren't enough. Put on a new playlist that tells you the truth about who you are. That reminds you that you are enough. Replace a negative thought with a new one, a helpful thought instead. Replacing these broken records is something that we must all practice. One way you can do that is by putting scriptures in your mind every day. That shares the truth of who God is and who you are. The Psalms, a collection of songs and poems in the Old Testament, is a great place to start. In fact, when my record is broken and tells me I'm not enough, I put this verse on repeat in its place. I praise you because I am fearful and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well. Psalms 139:14. So when I struggle to believe that I'm enough, repeating this truth helps me. This week, I'd love to challenge you to do the same. Maybe even work on memorizing it with your small group right here at Hope PD. And we believe that small groups is the best place for you to grow in faith alongside other people who want to do the same. One way you can do that is by memorizing this verse together and remembering the truth that you are enough. All right? So what's one way that you can remember that God says that you are enough? That's what I want you to do this week. I want you to remember that you are enough. And remember what God said about you, that you are valuable, that you mean something, that you are the truth. So if you heard something you liked on this today, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button so you can get these messages every week. And if you happen to be in the area, stop by Hope Palm Desert, and join us on a Sunday, man. I'd love to just talk with you about Jesus. So I hope you guys have a great week. Keep coming back because we got 3 more lessons of this and some good stuff. So I love you. God loves you. Jesus loves you. And you guys have a great week.